Our next topic is vegetative propagation or asexual reproduction in plants. Vegetative propagation means propagation or reproduction of plants by using the vegetative parts. Vegetative parts or vegetative organs of plant include stem, root, and leaf. Propagation or reproduction or spread of plant by using vegetative structures, vegetative organs or vegetative parts of plant is called vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation by stem, root or leaf is a common way of propagation of plants. Natural vegetative structures which are used by plants in their vegetative propagation include these: natural vegetative structures of plants are as follows. Bulbs are natural vegetative structures of plants. These are specialized stems. Corms are natural vegetative structures. Rhizomes are natural vegetative structures. Stem tubers are natural vegetative structures. Suckers are natural vegetative structures, and leaves are also natural vegetative structures. First, we will discuss vegetative propagation by these natural vegetative structures: bulbs, corms, rhizomes, stem tubers, suckers, and leaves. So first of all, we will discuss bulbs. What are bulbs? Bulbs are short, underground stems. They are usually round in shape like light bulbs. And bulbs are covered by thick fleshy leaves. They consist of thick fleshy leaves. Their leaves are thick and fleshy because they have stored food in them. Now discuss their shape. Their shape is round like this, like bulb, like light bulb. This is the top of the bulb, and this is the base of the bulb. From base of the bulbs arise specialized roots. These specialized roots which arise from the base of the bulbs are called adventitious roots. These adventitious roots serve the function of roots. Adventitious roots are not true roots, and adventitious roots are defined as the roots which arise from the parts of the plant other than radicle. The root which arises from radicle is a true root, and the root which arises from stem, root or leaf That type of roots are called adventitious roots. Because bulbs are specialized stems, and the roots which will arise from the bulbs will be called adventitious roots. These roots provide water and support anchorage to the bulbs. On the top of the adventitious roots there is the buds which is called apical buds, from which arises a shoot, a new plantlet, a new bulb of the future. From the top, the buds which are present in the bulbs will give rise to shoots, and from the base, here the base bulbs will give rise to adventitious roots. Now I will tell you that which plants reproduce vegetatively by bulbs. These includes onions, tulips, etc. Now we will discuss about corns. Corns are also short underground stems with fleshy leaves containing stored food. They are similar in shape to bulbs, but also there are some differences. When we cut a bulb from center, a bulb can never be equally halved. But when we cut a corm from the center, the corm is cut into equal halves. That is the major difference performed between corms and bulbs. But in definition they are same. Corms are short underground stems with fleshy leaves like those in the bulbs. Imagine this is a corm of Colocasia. You see that not exactly like a bulb but somewhat like a bulb. And from the base, this is the base of the corm, this is the top of the corm. Near the top of the corm apical buds are present, and near the base or bottom of the corm adventitious roots arise, and this apical bud will give rise to the shoot of the corm. This you see what the more round areas in the base, these are daughter corms or new corms. The plants which reproduce, which vegetatively propagate by corms include garlic and lilies. Next, our topic is rhizomes. Rhizomes are also specialized underground stems, but they are much more different from the bulbs and corms. What are rhizomes? Rhizomes are horizontal underground stems with swollen nodes. To explain the rhizomes, let's consider its shape. Imagine this is a rhizome, because a rhizome looks like this, and it is sown underground. This is earth, the ground, and below the ground we have sown a rhizome. These enlarged portions of the rhizome are called nodes of the rhizome, and this space between one node and another node, it is called internode. Nodes are the areas of rhizomes where too much tiny buds, mixed buds are present. The topmost buds will be apical buds, and these will give rise to shoot, and the lowermost one will be called base buds. These will be giving rise to adventitious roots. It is horizontal. A new plant will come from under the ground from these nodes, from the buds which are present in these nodes. Various plants reproduce by formation of rhizomes. The common example is the ginger plant. They look like creeping stems, where this will touch the substrate. Where a node touches the substrate or earth or soil, a new plantlet arises out of the earth. Next is the stem tubers. Stem tubers are also underground stems, very similar to the rhizomes. Stem tubers. Tubers mean too much swollen portion, very much swollen or enlarged structure is called tuber. Stem tuber mean this part of the stem which has become tuber, which has become too much swollen. Technically, stem tubers are actually the nodes of rhizomes. The nodes of the rhizomes, when they are too much swollen, they are called stem tubers. Imagine this is the node, and this is another node, and this is still another node. It will simply called node. It will be also called node, but because this is too much large, this node will be now termed a stem tuber. In the stem tubers, like in case of potato, because potato is also a stem tuber, there are present specific areas spread across the surface of a stem tuber. These areas of stem tubers are called eyes of stem tubers. Eyes of the stem tubers are actually an aggregate of the buds. In the eyes, imagine this is an eye of the stem tuber. Inside an eye there are too much buds, which may be the future shoots or the future adventitious roots. From each and every bud there may arise a shoot and a root system. Imagine there are 30 buds per stem tuber. There will be 30 plantlets in future from each and every bud. Potato, yam and sweet potato reproduce vegetatively by formation of stem tubers. The next topic is suckers. Suckers are also underground stem, but they are side branches of the stem. Imagine this is a plant. This is the shoot of the plant which is going underground, and this is the root system of that plant. Now from the side of the underground portion of this stem there will arise a branch. It will go upward towards the earth, towards the soil, where it will touch the ground. Here a new shoot will be formed and a new root system will develop. A new adventitious root collection will be found at the base of this shoot. This will further make another branch, another side stem, which creeping a distance, when touches the ground, it will make a shoot upward, and root system consisting of adventitious roots downwards. Such a creeping stem is called suckers. Suckers develop very vigorously. An example is chrysanthemum and many grasses, which spread vigorously in the ground by the lateral stem or side stem. Suckers are actually lateral underground horizontal stems. Chrysanthemum and grasses commonly reproduce vegetatively by suckers. The last method of vegetative propagation, or last natural vegetative structure of the plants is leaves. Special plants like Bryophyllum have thick leaves. The margins of the leaves of the Bryophyllum, these margins are too much thick, and from the margins of the Bryophyllum there hang down adventitious roots, and each leaflet, imagine this is a small portion of the leaf, this is another small portion, this is another, this is another, all these small portion of the leaves, all these leaflets will develop into plantlets, and because of their weight these plantlets may fall down on the ground, or they may remain attached to the plant, and the whole leaf may fall down on the ground with all the favorable conditions provided. These all plantlets develop into the new plants. It is a very special form of the reproduction, vegetative propagation, which is done in the Bryophyllum, which is also called Patthar Chhoot. These are the natural vegetative structures which we have discussed: bulbs, corms, rhizomes, stem tubers, suckers and leaves. 5 of these are underground stems and the 6th is the leaf. And now we will discuss that vegetative propagation by methods applied by human beings to spread the plants, to increase the number of the plants. One method is cuttings. In this method, in cuttings, the stem or root of the plant is cut. Imagine this is the stem of the plant. It is cut into pieces, into 3 pieces, 1 piece, 2 piece and 3 piece. All these 3 pieces will, when grounded, produce new plants which were exactly similar to the parent plant. The more you make the cuttings of the plant, stems or roots, the more plants are obtained. But one thing is always considered, and that is that the cuttings must contain growth region of the stem and roots, which are called meristematic tissues. The cutting of stem or the cutting of the root must contain the growth region, that is meristematic tissue, for the production of an entire new plant from that cutting. Sugarcane, rose and various plants are propagated vegetatively by using the method of cuttings. The next method to propagate the plants artificially, that is grafting. In grafting, a part of one plant is attached to a part of another plant. In grafting, a piece of stem from one plant is attached to a piece of stem of another plant. And in the grafting, there is always one plant with established root system and the other plant, the piece of stem or root of other plant. The piece of stem or root of other plant is attached to the stem of the established of the plant with established root system in a way so that the conducting tissues or vascular bundles of the two branches or two shoots or two stems must be connected to each other so that the food and various fluids supplied to the plant with established root system will be provided to that new stem from another plant. Grafting is usually performed for production of the desired varieties or desired characteristics in another plant. In grafting, one thing must be taken in mind that one piece of the stem must be cut in the diagonal way. This portion of the stem, this portion of the branch must be cut diagonally in this way, and the other branch which is to be attached to this branch of the plant with the established root system also be cut in the way similar to this. This is done to connect the vascular bundles of the shoot 1 with the shoot 2 for the development of the new branch with the desired characteristics, which will be the mixed of the two branches. Another method of vegetative propagation done by man, that is another artificial way of vegetative propagation, is tissue culture. Tissue culture is the modern technique or modern method of artificial vegetative propagation. In tissue culture, a tissue of plant is taken. A very small part of the plant is taken. And after the taking of a tissue of plant, this tissue is grown in growth medium, where many tissue form from this single tissue and a hard mass of tissue is resulted. This hard mass of many tissues developed in the growth medium is called callus. From this callus, a new plant is developed, and usually in a very much small time, very much large number of the plants can be grown by tissue culture. All the plants will be exactly similar to each other. That is why tissue culture is also called cloning, because all the plants which are produced are exactly similar. Tissue culture is also called micropropagation, because this type of vegetative propagation is using just very small part of the plant. Using very small part of the plant makes such a large number of the copies of that plant, and it is beneficial to get desired characteristics widespread in the plant kingdom. Tissue culture is a technique of vegetative propagation in which small piece of the plant tissue is taken, grown in the growth medium, which is provided with the desired pH, temperature, and nutrients for vigorous development of the tissue into many, forming a hard mass of the tissue that is called callus, which will eventually develop into the new plants when they are sown in the soil, in the ground. Tissue culture is also called cloning because new plants are produced by tissue culture are exactly alike. And it is also called micropropagation because newly found plants are made by using very small very small part of the parent plant. That is why it is also called micro, means small, propagation means vegetative propagation or reproduction. Next we will discuss that what are advantages or disadvantages of vegetative propagation, whether it is natural or it is artificial. There are many advantages as well as disadvantages of vegetative propagation. What are advantages or benefits or usefulness of vegetative propagation? The first advantage of vegetative propagation is that we get desired plants. The second advantage that it is a fast process. In less time we get more plants because most plants take 1 year or 2 years for their flowering phase, and before going to flowering phase we are doing the vegetative propagation, which is a fast method. Some plants only grow by vegetative propagation. These plants are the seedless plants like banana. Those plants which are seedless, they can never grow by sexual reproduction. They always take this sport of asexual reproduction, means vegetative propagation. That is an advantage of the vegetative propagation, that seedless plants only grow by this method. And now we will discuss disadvantages of the vegetative propagation, which include spreading of disease in all plants, because all the plants which are produced by vegetative propagation are having the same ability. So if there is an attack of a new disease to which these plants are not able to fight with, all the plants will be affected by the attack of the new disease, and there will be a destruction of whole crop. Another disadvantage of the vegetative propagation is that plants have no variations, because plants are not undergoing the crossing over process which is occurring in the meiosis or in sexual reproduction. Absence of variations will lead to inability of the plants in a wide variety of ranges of the ecosystem or environment. The adaptability or adaptation of the plants which is reproduced by vegetative propagation is less.